Hey everybody, my name's Steve Gibson.
And I'm Sam Pro.
And this is Distinctly Digital, a modern recruiting podcast. And today we're going to be talking with Jeff Gibson of Recruiters Websites and finding out a little bit more about how it all started and what they have to offer for the industry. So Sam, this is our first ever podcast.
Very first podcast, my first time behind a mic.
It's a little intimidating.
A little bit.
We're just staring into this microphone and with no feedback.
Mm-mm.
And it seems a little intimidating to me.
It does not look like it's open for conversation.
No, just looking back at us with its beady little eyes.
Now, I will say our guest is kind of looking at us like that too.
I was talking about Jeff.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So Jeff Gibson, I can talk about him like that because he is my brother and founder of Recruiters Websites. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for taking some time. I know that you're actually one of the ones that are really, really busy within our organization. And just in case everyone's not aware, we are all part of a Recruiter's Websites. I help in a lot of different capacities here within the organization, from sales all the way through working within a little bit of project management, helping to understand the scope of different projects and making sure we're meeting the expectation of our clients. Sam, tell them a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, I am a content producer. So whether it's something digital, something written, short form, long form, that's what I do. I feel like I am the office comedian. So maybe that's just what I want to think I am.
Oh, there's no doubt that I think that you would fall into that.
That I would think category. I am.
Yeah. No, we do technically have a stand-up comedian in our office who works with our content and within a lot of our marketing. But I mean, if I would say anyone is funny, it's going to be you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so, this podcast really is just to talk about and have an opportunity to sit down and reflect on things that we see every day, maybe some trends within the industry. But we thought it would be appropriate, of course, to kick off with who we are and to be able to speak to the guy that founded our company, which is Jeff. So, Jeff, tell us, a little bit about how Recruiters Websites even came about.
So I spent about 9 years as a recruiter in the property casualty insurance industry, and while I really enjoyed the industry, I didn't actually enjoy being a recruiter very much. My background previous to that was I was building things. I was a welder. And so when I came across building websites, it kind of fulfilled that need for me. And we started building the website for the firm I was with. We hired a local company. That local firm didn't put together the website that we really wanted. They didn't understand the recruiting business. And we found out that we had to fill in a lot of gaps. And in fact, we rebuilt that entire website. Actually, I rebuilt that entire website. So that was the first website we ever did. To make a long story short, we started getting referrals from other recruiting companies, and they would ask who built our website, and the staff would send them to me. And so I started doing that on the side, and it just made sense for us to open up a company. It was just me at first, and then it kind of snowballed to where it is today with our staff of 11. And we also opened up a division to help recruiting firms with their digital marketing. So we're not just websites anymore, but we also do marketing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to stress here. So, and again, Jeff's my brother, and so him and I worked at this firm together. It was a family-ran firm. Our dad comes from the industry. Actually, got to start within the MRI network, which is, I know, a really well-known franchise group within the industry. And he brought us on board. And he taught us the business. We read leather-bound books, watched VHS tapes, listened to cassette trainers, all the things that take place. And it's not that Jeff didn't like the industry. I don't want to think that needs to come across in that way, Jeff. But it's more so along the lines that he had a very technical mind. And so I know when we were working the desk together, you would find yourself most of the time helping to find creative ways for us to find candidates through sourcing methods.
Well, Dad was very much old school, kind of recruiting by the book, and still using pretty much a Rolodex at that point.
Right.
And so we kind of brought in a different perspective, a younger perspective. And you're right. It's not that I didn't like the industry, because I actually really enjoy the recruiting industry. It's that I didn't like recruiting. Going in and just making cold calls to not reach anybody, leave voicemails that never get returned, and finding a new way to innovate and automate the recruiting business has really been my goal since I started in 2005 as a recruiter. We had a kind of a funny story when my mom and dad went to Hawaii for their 25th wedding anniversary. Me and my sister, Amy, who still works there as a recruiter and is very successful, we started utilizing some of these new methods of finding people, and we were able to make a lot of placements in a couple of weeks while he was gone, and it really opened his eyes to maybe we don't have to be stuck
right
where we are now.
Which is really funny, is because it's really what we deal with a lot in our industry, because recruiters just traditionally are going to be more classic in the way that they approach this business, because ultimately it's about building relationships. Nothing's ever going to replace that. But what Jeff found a desire to do was to find more opportunities and ways to build those relationships. And so it's almost we have to show that these things actually work when we're working with clients every single day, because it's so contrary to what they've ever been told when we're coming from a traditional desk.
Well, modern recruiting or even modern sales can't just be hash marks on a piece of paper indicating the number of calls you made for the day, because that's not where our prospects live.
Right.
They're on their mobile devices, so text messaging, and they're on their computer, so we need to do emails. They're on social media, so we need to do ads. They're on the web, so we have to have a nice website. Those are the kind of things that we have to do to be able to reach our prospects, right. And that's what we help our clients do.
Right. And I think one of the things that's been really great, so beyond, like Jeff said, beyond the custom websites and growing into that, and then within the digital marketing as well, one thing that we found ourselves really having an aptitude for is building custom integrations with things like applicant tracking systems or marketing automation softwares, and finding ways to be able to make synchronization between the processes that recruiters and staffing firms are doing every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've built literally hundreds of integrations. We use applicant tracking systems like PC Recruiter,
Crelate,
Loxo, Big Biller, Bullhorn, and we're able to create connections that save you time and resources.
Yeah, it's not, and that all goes back. It's funny how you can see it all kind of progress from where your technical mind started working as a recruiter, and then being able to apply that to how we can help other firms. I think that's something that is not to be overlooked. Just because you didn't enjoy the cold call aspect and the grind that goes into recruiting, the big ups and the big downs, and all the things that recruiters experience every day with rejection and being lied to and not getting the feedback, all the things that we all go through. Just because you didn't enjoy being beat up and kicked around doesn't mean that you weren't finding the opportunities and ways to be able to make sure that the rest of the individuals in that firm were being successful. And now that applies to all the clients that we've worked with.
Right, exactly.
And at this point, we're nearing, I think, 450 or so clients in different firms and organizations of all different sizes, which it's been a lot of fun. And you mentioned, we specialize when we work the desk in property and casualty insurance. And the amazing thing about this industry and the recruiting industry, as many of you know, is that it can transcend and be almost in every vertical and every niche across the world. I'm trying to think. I think one of the most narrow I've ever seen that we've worked on was elevators.
Elevators, thermoforming.
Well, yeah, you can get into a lot of that stuff. Photonics.
We had one not too long ago that was specific points in a clinical research for a specific type of medicine. So they didn't do the sales part. They didn't do any of that. It was just up until like stage 3 of a clinical trial. And past that, he did not care.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing. So that's one of my favorite things about the entire industry is the fact that it can go into so many different worlds. You don't have to be an expert of all verticals or all types of workplaces, but you have to understand the niche and verticals that you work within. And that individual, that recruiter then can be very successful in what they do because they learn the candidates that they're working with. They learn what the clients are looking for, the cultures of those organizations, and being able to then provide to them the best quality candidates to grow their organization. And we're working with those candidates to have a pulse on what's happening and be able to give them the advice that they're looking for to further their career. So it's one of those things where the industry creates so many opportunities to help individuals reach what they're trying to do with their goals and objectives in their own careers.
We took the same approach when we started recruiters' websites. We came out of that property casualty niche, and we took the same approach when we started recruiters' websites by specializing in helping recruiters. A lot of people look at us and ask us, "Is that all you do?" Well, that's all we do is help recruiters with their websites and their marketing. And so we are hyper niched, and we have a lot of experience that can catapult your success.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the thing that's let us be able to make a difference within the organizations we work with. When they come to us, they don't have to explain what recruiting is. But a lot of the people that we even work with, Jeff and I, we have more experience than they have when it comes to recruiting, just being around it. And we've been around this thing our entire life. And so being able to apply our knowledge within the industry, and we even have our team members, when they come in and join and become a part of our team, we have them read the training books that we had to read. We make sure that they understand this industry inside and out because it's so important to know what makes a recruiting firm different than the others, makes them stand out, makes them unique, and finding the opportunities to present that through a website and through their social media and through the content that we're producing and all the strategy and thing that we can put together to make sure that they're successful. Being able to do that through our industry knowledge has been to me, it's been really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't even I can't even count the number of times we've been on the phone just coaching clients on this business, talking to us about fee percentages and what should they charge. And even new people who've never recruited, they want to open up a recruiting business. How do they do that? And that's a place where we can really help them establish some guidelines. And that's one thing that we did learn from Dad was when it came to the fee, he kind of held the line, and that's where that old school kind of meets the new ways of doing things, because we still have to maintain the industry and the standard of the fee and the guarantee, and that's going to catapult us to be able to be successful.
Well, especially right now. I mean, we're in a marketplace at this moment, and this is, I don't know when you're listening to this, but this is, 2021, October, and we're in a market where it's almost impossible to find good quality candidates and to be able to help your organization grow and find the right type of employees. And still, we see within different posts and different things, not necessarily clients we work with, but we hear within the industry that people are still charging, nominal fees and percentages for their services.
Right. Or a 6 or 12 month guarantee.
Right.
And, we have to remember that, once the candidate is placed, we have no control over how they're treated. And a 30-day guarantee, no more than a 90-day guarantee is sufficient. And most of the time, the potential client's not going to walk away from that type of deal just based on a guarantee.
Right. And it can be scary to hold the line. When you're talking to a client and you want to be able to do well for them, and you know it's something you can fill, and hey, you throw out 15%, 20%, or whatever it is, and you can get that job order and a search assignment and fill the position. Obviously that's attractive to do. But if we hold our line, if we know that everything we're doing represents our expertise, and this is where really a website and digital presence comes in, is the ability to know that no matter where they go, the value of what we offer, from the conversations they have with us, for what they see on our website, through what they see through our digital presence, through the process that we work as we are helping that candidate go from initial conversations all the way through the start date. If we can have all that be succinct and have all that reflect the level of expertise that we have, we should have no problem in standing firm on our fee percentages, because it's going to resonate that we are worth it, or our services are that value that they need.
Great point, Steve. Before we move forward, let's go ahead and thank our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Vladimir from Recruiters Websites. That's me.
So Jeff, tell us what is happening new within Recruiters Websites. What are some things that we should look out for? Maybe what are some things we just run into that we feel like are kind of going to be on the horizon, and things that maybe firms should be thinking about within as they're looking to improve their web presence?
So some things that are coming out, we just launched a new division of Recruiters Websites called Staffing Websites, staffingwebsites.com. This is designed to cater to the staffing side specifically, and help our staffing customers as well, because we do have a fair amount of staffing customers, so not everyone is recruiting, and we know there is a slight differentiator between staffing and recruiting.
Sure, yeah, being able to make that distinction. It's small, of course, and there's overlap. Firms that do direct placement and direct hire, will do temp to hire, contract work, and vice versa. But there is a little bit of distinction between the way that those two, what we call them, two different focuses can be approached. And so, yeah, we're excited about that. We're pretty literal with the way we approach our naming of our organizations, so that's great. So we try to be very straightforward and not deceptive of what we do or who we are. One thing I would say as we look into making suggestions and things to look into is, along with your website, talking about, and this is going to be an upcoming discussion that we're going to have. And so it's just really kind of a plug for that, but SEO and search engine optimization, how to be effective within that world. I know, Sam, we're going to get into a pretty in-depth conversation about what some fundamentals are, what to look for, and how to approach that.
Absolutely. SEO is one of those mysterious things that people know what it stands for most of the time. They can Google it, they can figure it out. But really, to dig into what SEO is and what it can do for you can be a challenge for some people. And it's definitely not a beginner's type of level thing. So that's why we're going to go into a whole episode about what you can do, why you would do it, and the different types and ways that you can optimize your site, your content, everything.
Yeah, and one of the biggest things you'll pick up on, and this is directed to the listeners as we work through some of these podcasts and have these discussions, is we're not a proponent of this is the solution or this point's the solution. It's a little bit of everything as we approach making sure our clients can find us and that we make great first impressions when they come to our websites, where we're being engaging through social media, not just providing fluff and filler information and noise, but things that are actually going to make sense. But finding the ways to combine all of these little ins and outs, all the little tools and tricks and that are available to us as recruiters in this day and age, just to help us build more relationships. Our whole motto here at Recruiters Websites is, how can we help our clients have the opportunity to build more relationships? Because through those relationships come more placements. It may be something that doesn't even show or come to fruition in that moment or in that search, but 5 years down the road, 2 years down the road, that person comes back, they have referrals for you. Maybe they got a new position, they're looking to hire. All these things, facilitating more conversations is really what makes a recruiter successful. And so that's what we try to do, and trying to talk about some of those things that facilitate that and make that happen is really what we're looking to accomplish during this podcast. So, Jeff, I really appreciate you taking some time out to join us. I know it's never easy to be able to find time to get out and just talk about, the industry, what we do, and who we are. But we sure do appreciate it, and we'll let you get back to doing things that you do really, really well, and that is building those connections and developing websites.
It's great to be here.
So next week in our next podcast, Sam, what is our topic?
Next week, we are going to talk about the importance of a digital presence.
Okay.
So from now until then, thanks for joining us. You can find us on all the social platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We also have a newsletter that we send out to share some content we create, content we find, and I don't know, maybe the biggest LinkedIn fail of the week.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun things that we can find with LinkedIn when it comes to fails. So, if you have any interest in just staying kind of within the pulse in the industry, subscribe to that.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll look forward to talking again next week.